Well, so the O2 just really represents more than one. In order to build anything, it takes more than one. It takes a community. So for us, it was like even like mentally, it'll take two ideas to kind of form something. But for us, we realize the greatness of every company is togetherness. So that's what the O2 represents.
And O2. So where did it all start? Who put the idea
Man,
together?
where did it start? It's kind of been an idea for a long time. It was I had a group of homies in high school that we tried to do something. Too many cooks in the kitchen. It didn't really work out. Eventually, the idea's always been there. It just wasn't something that we fully executed. This is my god brother. This is my god sister's boyfriend. So it's like we're always kind of communicating about the same things, whether it's movies, music,
clothes.
fashion. Yeah, it was always that. So it was like, hey, I have this idea. Everybody has their own part to contribute. Let's build this team.
I think I think something I bring to the table. It sounds funny, but I guess humor. 'Cause I think sometimes I see him stressing out.
Yeah, it get too serious.
It gets too serious, and then I just gotta like say something dumb or stupid or say something funny to just
Yeah.
like get their mind off of that for a minute, and they just start and then we go back to the situation just laughing, and we get it done probably quicker because we just got over it in a sense.
Yeah.
So I just pretty much make sure the vibe is right.
Yeah.
So whether through humor, music, yeah, I try to make sure everything's right.
For myself, I think I'm applying the pressure a little bit more. Like he said, he kind of like, compresses the energy of the room a little bit more. Because I'm always like very meticulous about how everything goes down. So it's like, hey, you know what? Right now we got to chill out a little bit. But yeah, definitely the pressure for myself.
I would say that mine is more kind of like a team player. Like I'm trying to figure out what everyone's trying to do together. I see Brian kind of as like our team captain. Like we run with whatever play he gives us. And being a team player includes like being a really good listener, Like sometimes we'll all branch out and have our own ideas about where we want to take a certain campaign, especially for this first drop too. We had a bunch of different ideas of, like what colorways, like what the story's going to be. And I think like when you start listening to what everyone has to say and like molding it together, that's what makes us like all our thoughts together. Like we put it to use. We don't just like take one person's idea. We just combine it more. So contribute to the whole picture instead of just for yourself. Then yeah.
Is it quality or quantity?
Quality, huh?
Quality.
I feel like quality.
Mm-hmm.
I
Quality.
don't want it to be quantity, that's for sure.
So the
But-
focus is quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that was always our intention with this brand. We don't want to just screen print and sell like on cheap materials. Like no disrespect to any other brands who do that, They,
It's just played out a little bit. in my
yeah, like we're not in it for like the cash grab. We want to like give customers something worth taking home and throwing it on with whatever you want to wear, so that it can complement your outfit. So for us, it was definitely quality, sourcing out everything we can as much as possible, even if that took like being in LA traffic for hours or going back and forth too.
Worth it, though.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Oh, packaging. So for us, at the end of the day, we're storytellers. So at the end of the day, if one thing doesn't align with the story, you're kind of messing up your own story. So if our intent is to build quality over quantity, everything has to align, whether it's the packaging, whether it's the label, whether it's the content on social media, everything has to align. So even when it came down to the packaging, it was like, okay, what specific sizes? Okay, but what details are we adding on it? Okay, well, so we try to break down everything as specific as we can.
I think that's the definition of paying attention to detail.
I think one aspect was the storytelling, obviously the quality, but I think we pay attention to the entire picture, and we just want to give a great experience. I think if we're in it for the quantity over the quality, we would have been pushing T-shirts 2 years ago, because the idea for O2 Vida kind of developed maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. So the entire time it was like really just strategizing, kind of getting a feel for who we are as a team, and then how it is that we want to portray that. So yeah, I think what separates us big time is the storytelling. We just want to be great storytellers.
And is that the most important part, or is that just one of the most important factors?
One of the most. One of the most.
Yeah, it has to be. Now I feel like people love a story now, so you can't just, have kind of like an unorganized layout. You know, people notice when you're lazy. Like on Instagram, like your feed, whatever you put out and upload, like people won't tell if you're being serious or not. Like how much you respect your craft.
How long do you guys think it took you to really say, okay, no, we're doing this, like we're taking this seriously?
This first project, what maybe since February? Maybe somewhere around March, so maybe about 3 months. And there were a couple things that we had to wait for because we did outsource the bags. So there were a couple things that are we're depending on other companies to create. But a lot of other things, a lot of other aspects like the embroidery or the screen printing, like a lot of it was us really trying to learn everything, which was kind of incorporated into the past 3 years. But within these past like maybe 3 or 4 months, it was like, hey, now we have the specific T-shirt down. Let's crack down on how to get everything as precise as we wanted. So the entire project, including the story, how we wanted to push out the story, probably about 3 or 4 months.
What story is O2B trying to tell?
Man, it's kind of a different story every time.
For this collection?
This collection specifically was a story about the past 3 years, past 2 or 3 years of developing who we are. So it was more of an introduction to, hey, we are O2. So it was the studying, as the caption said, the friction, whether it's self-doubt, whether it's like ideas conflicting with each other. And then since we're all so passionate about it, it could get personal. But then you realize like, hey, you know what? Everybody wants the same for the company. They want it to be great. So you know what? We can't take it personal. It's just another idea. So there's this friction, and then just, your glimpses of vindication. Like, you know what? There's something special about this. We just got to keep pushing. So that was the story. It was us, what it took to get here. Since Jesse's head of social media, it was like a lot of back and forth, trying to get some clarity on like making sure we're on the same page, because I'm kind of like forming the story, but he's telling the story because he's on social media. You know what I mean? He's the one that's really speaking to the people.
It was kind of like how he was saying earlier, like there's a lot of pressure applied because we definitely had a lot of content, but there were times where it goes back to, like I said, like reminding ourselves that we're team players and we got to like all execute what we want together. And, a few days before, like we really didn't know what photos we were going to use. And again, that pressure kind of like starts building on you. And I think that's when you got to execute. Like you got to start talking like, hey, what is it that we want out there? Mm-hmm. Like he'll go ahead and relay the information to me like, hey, this is a story. And then I show him the content that I think works with what he has, with his vision. And he gave me the idea for the layout, and then I was like, okay, I want to run with that. Let's do a layout. These are the photos we're going to use to start off the layout, and here are the captions. Let's talk about what day we're going to post. Everything was so particular. Posting at 2:22 p.m.
Definitely don't rush.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the most important one for me.
Don't rush, and then be
Yeah.
patient, because right now with COVID, obviously, like all the materials and stuff that we needed was being delayed, and it pushed back, a couple of things that we wanted to get done, our deadlines.
You could be great planners, but you don't really know what's gonna happen until it happens. So, yeah, bro. Like one specific situation for us was like, so initially when we're creating the website, the first platform that we had it on was BigCommerce, right? And that was just kind of like a countdown, a 10-day countdown before the release. On the back end, we're working on Shopify, and we're not coders, bro. Like we're barely learning everything. We're going as we go. We're learning as we go. So we're studying other websites, breaking down what elements they're using, whether it's a carousel, whether, just everything. So we're going back and forth, and then we have to readjust it to our likings and the measurements that we want or the font that we want. So like I said, we're working on Shopify on the back end, and the plan was, okay, the day of release, we're going to take down BigCommerce, and then we're going to air Shopify. What we didn't know was that with Shopify, when you go live, it could take about 24 hours or 48 hours to go live. So we're right here preaching like, hey, 15 minutes, be ready, be ready. And, we have our loved ones and our family, like, they're kind of anticipating the release. And we're right here freaking out, bro, with 10 minutes left. Like, you know what? It might not release today. 5 minutes before the release, it airs. So, you know what I mean? Not everything it goes as planned, but it's kind of like another lesson with the patience is like, it's still going to work out. Don't overstress it.
Yeah, I don't know what the quote is, but it's be quick, not fast, or some along the lines like that. It's one of those things you kind of get a feel for, and when it happens, you kind of understand it. Like, if you go too fast, you're going to fuck up so much shit. When you're quick, you're focused on everything, and you're doing at a pace that you can do as fast as possible without fucking up.
Do you feel like you've been doing this forever, or is it just like natural?
It's always learning. It's always learning. I think we've always been students. Like I said, even before like the brand became what it was like us being students of film, of music, and just breaking down
Pop
like
culture.
what it was that other people did.
Just everything.
Yeah, it was constant studying. At least through this process, it was like a lot of Naomi Campbell's work and Tupac's work. I think those were kind of like not only references in terms of pictures, but then references in terms of like how vulnerable they could get through their content. And I think that's crucial in storytelling. I think when you really get down to like what it is that you feel at your core, it's not like you can't lie to yourself. You gotta break it down. You gotta sit with yourself and really think like, what am I feeling? And that was kind of like because I grew up, my dad always was bumping Pac like all the time, and through his lyrics you could hear it, bro. He's saying some some real things about not only emotions but then what's going on in the real world. He wasn't scared. He kept it blunt. So, and then Naomi Campbell's work, it was like just going like on a surge of like trying to read, trying to get all the information I can, and obviously she's iconic to the world of fashion and what she brings. So I just started studying my homework on Naomi, and she's crazy, bro. Yeah, so for me personally, those are my two.
Can you give me an idea of what you learned from Naomi that you either applied to your brand or you just mentally instilled this into yourself and it helped you?
So again, it was that vulnerability. Okay. Another thing, being able to wear many hats. Like I think she was able to tell stories almost similar to an actor. Okay. Like, hey, even though this isn't me, there's some elements of me that are still familiar with this character that I'm playing. How do I portray that? Kanye,
definitely somebody I look up to. He's so like very detailed. I just think I've always appreciated that from him. So I try to apply that in anything I do.
I have exactly the same answer as him. I think that's why we all kind of like get along so as we kind of like the same things. But Kanye definitely too. He's very like unorthodox about what he does. Like he's gonna give you himself every single time. Just the rolled out in every album. Specifically like the Yeezus album. Like I know you said like what might inspire you from an artist. And I think that when I listen to the Yeezus album, it just gives me like this boost of confidence, because when he came out with that, it was kind of like a new sound to bring to rap. And he's often criticized for like the weirdness in the lyrics or the production, and I think that that inspires me. Like people can be themselves, like
unapologetically.
Mm-hmm.
It's high in the standards of O2. There were a list of words that we had thought that we felt represented us going into the year 2 process of like finding out who we were. What were the list of those words? I know one was precision. One was synergy. Those were those were the key some of the key ones. So I think, precision is everything. I think once you have the image in your head, it's like, what one of my mentor, he had taught me one time. We had a project for my parents about a year ago, right? So this is '02 already, and it was like my parents' birthday. They're on the same day, so we wanted to put together a jacket for them, right? Again, friction. One of the jackets got fucked up, and I'm right here like at 5 in the morning, like trying to put it back together, but it wasn't coming back together. And my godfather was looking at me, and he was like, what are you doing? Like you're gonna give that to them? That's the piece you're gonna give to them? And I'm like, well, we ain't got nothing else to do. Their birthday's like tomorrow. No, it was Christmas. I'm sorry. Like Christmas is tomorrow. And he was like, come on, like you had this this vision. Let's not compromise for a certain situation. Let's get it done right. So yeah, precision is everything. Get your idea down the way you envision it. Of course, with the right timing. But yeah, make it happen the way you envision it.
Not every story is comfortable to tell, so there's definitely gonna
That
be
too.
some uncomfortable stories that we're gonna have to try to show to the masses or just show to the small following we have right now.
Yeah.
Top of your head, like, that sticks out.
What you got?
One.
What you got?
I got one with one of our days for the Instagram feed was friction, and that came from us having like a difference of opinion on captions, and I got a little bit in my head about what I wanted to post because it's almost like we all have our own like cubicles, like you know,
You all play your own roles.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we all sometimes kind of want to like see what the other person is
Yeah.
working on, try to like edit their work, but it comes back to like, okay, like remember that we're all gonna always dive into our own stuff, but we gotta give everyone else their own space too to shine, because we're all new to this. I never started with any social media experience. It's a learning process. Even outside of college, I always had this idea of putting something together out there on any platform and, you know, trying to work and trying to get it going and hopefully perfecting it, you know. That's always what we're trying to do, trying to tell the story as best as we can. And on the friction day, it was kind of like that. Like we were like this conflict right here, that's a story. Like
Yeah.
let's tell it. Let's tell the audience how we feel, like how this friction feels, like when you're down on yourself and maybe you think that your idea might not work, but you have to remember to just like find that momentum in you
Keep going.
to keep going,
Yeah.
so that everyone else can really see like your work.
So too. That's fundamental. Yeah, that's fundamental, bro. This shirt is not here if all three of us weren't in the same room, like working together. It's non-existent. It's going down a whole different lane. Because originally, the idea was to drop an entire collection in September, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was September.
Yeah, September.
Yeah, that was the intentions like earlier in the year, and it was like everybody kind of brought me down to real life, and it was like, no, you know what? Let's focus on this one shirt. And at the time, I'm met with friction, so I'm like, man, bro, like they don't get me. but like after we all kind of started getting the ball rolling, after everything's done and said, it was like hindsight being 2020. Yeah, bro, that's what we needed. Like we needed to focus on this one piece, tell one story, and get it right. Because I don't think with our lack of experience, it might have not been so cohesive as a story if there's 10 pieces. But us like really getting down to the grit of one piece that's the product you get. Yeah.
I respect that.
So teamwork is fundamental.
I want to add a little bit. Not that like I enjoy the conflict, because you know in the heat of the
You enjoy it.
In the heat.
He enjoys it.
in the heat of the moment, like
That's where
you're
he comes in.
like I don't even want to talk to you. Like he doesn't want to. You know, we're all in our own
Yeah, I can
heads,
feel like that.
like mad, like just completely not trying to work together. And I think friction is just my favorite day because like conflict is healthy. Like we sometimes need like
Yeah.
to say whatever it is that we're holding in, because that could, you know, change the story up a little bit. Like, hey, I like what you told me right there. Let's give each other feedback on how we can put that into the brand more.
And that kind of goes back to like your question about authenticity. and being unfiltered, because it was like, yeah, we didn't have to say, like, you know, it was flawless. This whole process was butterflies. You know what I mean? We didn't go through nothing. It was cool. But now there's friction. But you come out of it and 10 times stronger.
Let's say that, like,
Yeah.
This isn't really the same thing, but like pressure creates diamonds.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like that pressure spit out OT this collection. So I think
Diamonds
that
and
it
pearls.
makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Because you referred to the whole pressure creates diamonds, and that was like a reference naming the pieces. Because when it came down to like, okay, what are we gonna name these two shirts that we had in mind? There was obviously black and white. So originally we had named them. I'm not sure what the term for white and black is in French, because I think that's what we had to kind of like match the elegance. But then there was a part of me that was like, nah, you know what? There's still a lot more learning to do before we give, you know, a lot of praise to that region of fashion. Let's find something a little bit more unique to us. And then, you know, we still had like black something, white something. And I feel like those terms often are used with friction. And that's kind of what we were telling in the story. It was like with the black and white content, it was like we felt maybe both politically and just like as storytellers, you kind of want to speak on what's going on at that time. So it's like a lot of things, people's mindsets were black and white. Like either you like it or you don't. You know, kind of I guess goes along with cancel culture. But it was like, nah, there's nuances of the world. There's gray area. Like not everything is black and white. So when it came down to the shirts, it was like neither of them, they have to be met with the same amount of value. Like not one can be better than the other. They're both met as the same. So it was like, you know what about diamonds and pearls? And we're like, that's perfect, because diamonds could be black diamonds or white diamonds, and pearls can also be white or black. So they're interchangeable. So that was kind of the intent of going into even naming the shirts themselves. I think we speak to where we come from, and we're just trying to provide those stories at a higher level. And just as a result, the quality of the clothes has to go up to another level as well.
I think a lot of the times, even with like brands that try to be high fashion, like it doesn't work because the culture who buys it already puts it in a box and says, no, this is streetwear right here. So what we're trying to do is make it as much as a luxury piece and brand as possible, so that people can put us in that position, you know, where we can be high fashion and we could be streetwear, but not just one.
Mm-hmm. And I think high fashion, or just the word luxury in general, is just experience. What experience are you providing? And I think us being storytellers and wanting to tell that story at a high level, that's what luxury is. It's experience. I think we executed on the nail. I think so. I mean, I know you said before the sketch, but then like even when the sketch came out, there were elements along the way that we implemented into it, like the logo on the back or the stitching pattern that we had used to apply the tag. I think those kind of came along the way, but in terms of like the style, the structure, the fit, the feel, I think we executed everything on the money, at least for this specific collection. Yeah.
Is that a lot easier said than done?
Yeah, a lot easier said than done, especially in the process of this process of looking for material itself. Because at first we wanted to go down to structuring everything with our own blueprint, but it was like, hey, right now, let's take baby steps. Let's find a shirt that's already kind of produced, and we'll go from there. In that, there were a lot of shirts that just didn't meet our, just the vision. It didn't align with us. Mm-hmm. So we had to go to showrooms, different T-shirt brands, different blanks, and
a lot of them were closed too.
Yeah, and downtown.
Yeah, for the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So that was even tougher on us. I guess trying to find my purpose with the brand.
Okay.
But I feel like I could put a little bit more work into the O2 brand. So I think that's probably been and it still is, finding what my purpose is in the brand. I don't want to just be I made a beat over some videos that they edited. Like I want to do something a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Like I came up with some designs, but I don't want to just do that. So I think that's probably been the hardest part for me.
Finding a place.
Yeah. for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And even not only finding your place, but you need to be open to learning the new things. Like we all try to implement ourselves into everything, and I think sometimes like you get caught up in like, no, like I can't be good at this. Like this is my thing, but it's not like that. You should be willing to learn and open to like the new roles.
Have a role and just have fun with it. Even though I'm probably hard to to have fun with, just because I'm so serious a lot of the times, it's hard for me. Maybe when you're not with me, have fun with it. Just try to learn everything you can. Everything will be internalized at a higher level when you want it. When it's a homework assignment or something that you're told to do, you'll do it, but it's for the sake of the moment. You're not going to internalize it and learn the lessons that you need to learn. I think when you want it, everything cuts a lot deeper. That's for anything. But you said one of the hardest lessons. I think that's I think finding confidence, regardless of who's supporting you or not. The next step is getting a couple of complementary pieces that we're still going to take our time with, make sure it's highly executed. The next story is going to be broken down from basic material and raw material to our blueprints in the piece. I won't give too much detail, but it'll be 100% authentically us.